You are welcome to this week's edition of From the Assembly, a program that brings to you issues emanating from the hallowed chamber of Nasarawa State House of Assembly and other matters connected to it. I am Valentine Joshua, urging you to invest your time with us as we bring to you issues in the week under review. Now, there is a popular saying in the judicial parlance that justice delayed is justice denied. And if this is anything to go with, it therefore means that many people are being denied justice from the court, which is a temple of justice, due to logistics problem and, more importantly, inadequate of number of high court judges. Could this therefore mean that there are inmates who are languishing in jail because there are no judges to entertain their case? This is a question for yet another day. But in recognition that there are criminal and civil cases in Nasarawa State that are not being entertained, the Nasarawa State government in the week under review presented to the House of Assembly a bill seeking to increase the number of high court judges from 20 to 30 to ease dispensation of justice. And after weeks of legislative processes, the Nasarawa State House of Assembly passed the bill into law.
Honourable members, this is a bill for a law to amend the number of judges of the Superior Court of Record Law 2001 and for related matters, third reading and pass. May I ask the clerk to forward to me the clean copy of this bill for the purpose of vetting before transmitting to His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi Sule for his assent.
During debates at the early stage of the bill, lawmakers commended the initiative, saying there are lots of cases left without prosecution due to deficit of judges in the state. And moreover, if the number of high court judges are increased, the bills in terms of salary wouldn't be on the shoulder of the state government. Also, in the week under review, the House passed into law a bill seeking to amend Nasarawa State College of Nursing and Midwifery Lafia, Law 2021, where the name of the institution was changed to Nasarawa State College of Nursing Sciences Lafia.
Honourable members, this is a bill for a law to amend the Nasarawa State College of Nursing and Midwifery Law 2021 and other matters connected therewith. Third reading and pass. May I request the clerk to provide for me the clean copy of this bill for the purpose of vetting before transmitting to His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi Sule for his assent.
The changes was occasioned by the directive from Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria that midwifery should be scrapped as a basic course since it belongs to the nursing training and be retained as a postgraduate program, hence the compliance by Nasarawa State. From all indications, the controversy and poor payment greeting pension scheme in Nasarawa State will soon be put to rest if the bill seeking to establish contributory pension schemes scaled through next week. After impulse on the import of the scheme, the State House of Assembly passed into second reading a bill for a law to make provision for contributory pension scheme for employees in the public service of Nasarawa State. It could be recalled that for years, solutions to controversy and poor payment of pension by state government across the federation is far-fetched, thus leaving songs of lamentations on the lips of pensioners. And in Nasarawa State, government is thinking that contributory pension scheme is the way out, and a bill was sent to the State House of Assembly to legalize the process with a view to bringing succor to the individuals who have served for 35 years. When the House reconvened on Monday, 22nd of May 2023, Majority Leader of the House, Umar Tonkotunga, led debate on the proposed bill, saying it is a deliberate plan to address misfortunes revolving around pension scheme and bring smiles on the faces of pensioners in the state, a position that was corroborated by David Meyaki.
This bill is to ensure every person who worked in either the public service of the state or local government receives his retirement benefits as at when due. It is very pitiful. It is very disrespectful because there is dignity in labor. How do you expect somebody who spends about 35 years in the service of his people, in the service of humanity, will retire and his benefits become dry, stiff, and inaccessible? Somebody that is supposed to receive, for example, 3 million naira after retirement will be receiving at different instances, not in piecemeals, but pieces meals of maybe 50,000, 30,000, 100,000, and maybe after 3 or 4 months before you get another. This is terrible. This is terrific. It is not good for the living. In fact, even the dead, because that is not the expectation of such a person when he started to work. My colleagues, I want to have your support here. We want to go into contributory pension scheme that is applicable in advanced and developed civilized environments where retired civil servants who are supposed to be senior citizens would not be downgraded, would not deteriorate in livelihood after service to the people and service to humanity.
Mr. Speaker, this is a very crucial bill that we have to give it very prompt attention. Attention in the sense that when we look at the essence of this bill, I think is to simplify, to streamline, and to reinvigorate the system of pension scheme in Nasarawa State. And if we give it attention, Mr. Speaker, I think it will give the average civil servant in Nasarawa State hope that after serving the state for 35 years, is not going to die young. Because a lot of people have passed away today because after serving the state, they find it difficult to feed their families. And we know the system we find ourselves today, Mr. Speaker, it is not pleasing. Therefore, I feel it will be very, very utmost important that I stand to support this bill in earnest. And I believe if we do that, I think posterity will be there for us tomorrow. I think the citizens of Nasarawa State will be happy with this honorable house, that we have them at heart. We wanting to present the bill is another thing to ensure that the bill is passed to law. And we will ensure, Mr. Speaker, at the passage of this bill, we will plead with His Excellency without waste of time to put it to assent into this bill.
For Mohammed Okpoku, the bill must have to spell in clear terms the workings of the scheme, the visibility and the flexibility, insisting that the management of the scheme must be individuals with reputable character and technical know-how on pension matters.
Mr. Speaker, while completely or in total, I agree that this bill be allowed to see the light of the day and thorough attention be paid to the bill, especially area of commencement. The conditions ought to be categorically and clearly stated, especially the civil servants that have few or 5 to 6, 7 or less than that years. It has to be clearly defined. Their positions ought to be known. Their faith ought to be known. That is condition one, number one. Mr. Speaker, condition number two, how and who are going to be partnering into the scheme. What I mean, how? How do you intend making this bill effective? Who? Those that are going to be into the scheme ought to be what? Ought to be defined in the bill. Mr. Speaker, distinct police, it is very, very what? Very, very key. Another one, Mr. Speaker, is what? Administration of what? Of the fund, which is what is called pension administrators. Mr. Speaker, who are those to manage this one? These resources. I'm an accountant by profession, Mr. Speaker. You can't say somebody should manage one resources where the viability of that administrator in question is not known. So the selection of pension administration or administrators ought to be what? Ought to be what? Ought to be defined, ought to be known. They must have a very good history in management of resources. They must have the capability in managing what? In managing what? People's resources, especially as they into this process before. What is their record? All those ones ought to be what? Ought to be considered. By and large, Mr. Speaker, disclosable items in the internal audit report ought to be what? Made known to national state government before engaging any administrator into what? Into this, because of the fear of what? Of unknown.
After listening to the debate, the gavel passing to second reading, a bill seeking to provide pension scheme in Nasarawa State.
Honourable Member, this is a bill for a law to make provision for the contributory pension scheme for employees in the public service of Nasarawa State and for matters connected therewith. Second reading. I will commit this bill to the House Standing Committee on Public Account in conjunction with Finance and Appropriation. All members, I am requesting the report from the committee on 30th of May 2023. On 30th, let me make my position very clear. On 30th of May, because on that same day, I will set aside all the relevant rules so that I will deliberate on this same report. Because this assembly is coming to an end on 31st. So we are passing this law by the special grace of God on 31st. Thank you very much.
However, the organized labor in Nasarawa State have kicked against the scheme, saying it is anti-workers, thus calling on the State House of Assembly to step down the bill as advocated by the State Labor Chairman, Ismaila Oko.
Arising from organized meeting of the organized labor held today, Wednesday, 24th May 2023, with respect to the ongoing contributory pension bill at the Nasarawa State House of Assembly, the following resolution were reached. 1. The organized labor were shocked to hear the bill and hereby reject the bill in its entirety because it is an anti-workers bill. 2. That a bill of this nature should be subjected to public hearing. 3. The organized labor wonder why the 6th Assembly, which has less than 5 days to wind up, is in hurry to pass the bill without following due process. This is very unusual of the House that we know, unethical, undemocratic, and totally unacceptable by the workers of Nasarawa State. Therefore, the bill should be set aside.
All eyes is now on the executive, the sponsor of the bill, the State Assembly, the lawmaking arm, the organized labor who are the immediate beneficiary of the said bill, to see how the issues will be reconciled. Back to the plenary, the Chairman House Committee on Education, Science and Technology, Daniel Ogazi, presented a report on a bill seeking to establish Nasarawa State College of Education Akwanga, where retirement age of academic and non-academic staff is pegged at 60 instead of 65, where the committee equally profiled 5 recommendations on a bill to include appointment of the provost.
The committee recommends that Section 23 sub 2D, the Commissioner of Education, Science and Technology, or his representative be captured as a member of the Senior Staff Disciplinary Committee and not Commissioner for Works, Housing and Transport or his representative. 5. The committee recommends that Section 27B be captured to read thus. The person shall have an educational qualification of PhD in any of the related discipline, one of the subject taught in an NCE program. I shall reach the rank of chief lecturer with at least 5 years cognate experience and proven integrity. I, candidate shall be from College of Education System.
And when the House reconvened on Wednesday, the report was deliberated upon by the Committee of the Whole.
The person shall have an educational qualification of PhD in any of the related discipline, one of the subject taught in an NCE program. 1 shall reach the rank of chief lecturer with at least 5 years cognate experience and proven integrity. 2, that's Roman 2. Candidates shall be from College of Education System. Distinguished members, those in favor of recommendation 5, say aye. Against, say nay. The ayes have it.
Back to the plenary, the House adopted the recommendations of the committee.
5 numbers of recommendation provided by the committee and as agreed at the Committee of the Whole. Distinguished member, if that was true reflection of what happened at the Committee of the Whole, say aye. Against, say nay. The ayes have it. I will slate third reading of this bill for Tuesday, 30th May 2023. Thank you.
Still in the week under review, Nasarawa State House of Assembly received a report on the bill seeking to improve water supply and sanitation in the state to guarantee the healthcare of the citizenry. Of course, one of the challenges that the inhabitants of Nasarawa State are facing is lack of quality water supply, and to address the perennial water shortage, the State House of Assembly is working on a legislative bill to improve the situation and that of sanitation. And at the Wednesday plenary, Luka Jekaba presented a report in that wise, advocating domestication of national water policy in the state.
The need to leave hydrometeorological stations and river guards in all waterworks and rivers for flow mitigations. This is in line with Federal Ministry of Water Resources for data generations as a research-based organization for better focusing of water economies, water budgeting, and water appropriation. The need to incorporate monitoring of transboundary intra-Nasarawa state water resources, rivers, and install loggers were necessary in line with the National Water Resources Bill.
Away from water and sanitation related issues, Leader of the House Umar Tonko Tunga presented a report on a bill seeking to repeal and reenact the Nasarawa State House of Assembly Service Commission to redefine the appointment of management staff, training and gratuity of assembly staff for efficient service delivery.
This bill will seek to repeal and reenact the Nasarawa State House of Assembly Service Commission Law 2023. Is timely and sacrosanct in as much is geared toward easing the process of administering an important arm of government as this. It was also envisioned to guide in career progression and placement of staff at the appropriate cadre and calling. When finally passed into law, the administrative structure of the legislature shall be well defined and productivity, efficiency, and effectiveness of staff will be enhanced.
On judicial matters, the House Committee on Judiciary, Ethics and Privileges, John Usewu, presented a report on a bill seeking to amend Nasarawa State Customary Course Law, recommending 10 years window period for customary court judges in the state to obtain required certificates or be laid off, as done to area court judges recently.
2. 10 years window period is also recommended for staff of this organization to obtain their degree in law or be called to the Nigerian bar at best in order to fit in.
All the three reports are presented are slated to be deliberated upon next week, and during the Wednesday's plenary, the House will pass into second reading a bill seeking to repeal and reenact Nasarawa State Bureau of Statistics Law, where Umar Tonko Tunga said the outfit is to take care of management of statistics of the state in all facets of human development.
It's very necessary for a state like this because we will be able to have access by whatever parameter, economically, commercially, in fact, by even environmental control, will be within the orbits of human qualitative living.
For Mohammed Okpoku and Ebel Yakubu Bala, the bill is laudable, saying establishing such agencies is apt, given the fact that government and policy makers cannot plan for development without statistics.
Speaker, the efficiency of management relies on decision making. Managers rely on what? Or management relies on what? On planning and decision making. The right and accurate data provided leads to right decision taking. Mr. Speaker, with this, the state government is on the right track.
Is to enable government to establish an agency or bureau that will shoulder with the responsibility of collecting data. And this data collection will help government to plan very well in executing her day-to-day activities.
Absolutely, no society develops without planning and implementation of policies without adequate statistics. And interestingly, with this week's sitting, it therefore means that the 6th Assembly is left with less than 3 plenaries to shut down the legislative session, meaning that an array of bills will be passed into law next week ahead of its valedictory session to pave way for the 7th Assembly, which will be constituted probably in the first week of June. And this is the size of our package on this week's edition of From the Assembly. I am Valentine Joshua. I'll see you next week with other legislative matters.